Ever since Neil Armstrong became the first man to walk on the moon, humanity has been dreaming of its next achievement. And for the last decade, it has become clear that our next objective is Mars. But it's not nearly as simple as just getting into a rocket and going. The first humans to set foot on Mars will face monumental challenges, the likes of which we have not faced yet. So, in this video, we'll take a look at some of those challenges, their solutions, and what a hypothetical mission to Mars would look like. There are many problems that astronauts will face when making the trip to Mars. The first of which being that there is hardly any oxygen in Mars' atmosphere, making it impossible to breathe. To combat this, scientists have come up with ways to convert CO2, which is fairly abundant on Mars, into oxygen. There's actually a prototype of this technology on board the latest Mars rover. Another issue will of course be that there's no food or water on Mars, and shipping these supplies from Earth is super expensive. However, there are large polar ice deposits on Mars, as well as under much of the surface. This can be mined out and melted into drinkable water, and can also be used to grow plants hydroponically. This won't provide all the food that early colonists will need, but it will allow them to stay longer without shipments from Earth. One of the biggest problems with going to Mars is the radiation. Because Mars does not have as robust of a magnetic field as Earth, anyone on the surface will be constantly exposed to high levels of radiation. To prevent this, early colonists will have to live underground or in lava tubes if they want to stay for extended periods of time. Living underground is also a good idea to keep astronauts safe from dust storms, which would be dangerous for any above-ground settlements. As you can see, the colonization of Mars would be very difficult, but not impossible. Now, let's imagine that we were to overcome all these challenges and go to Mars. What would that look like? How long would it take? First things first, we need to plan out where the colony will be and send supplies there. This process, depending on how much funding the project has, could take anywhere from 2 to 10 years. Next, the first crew would be sent along with additional supplies. They would be tasked with setting up the base and making sure that everything is set up for the next crew. This would probably go on for a while, and for the first decade at least, Mars would be home to explorers and scientists, not normal people. With enough funding, the first manned missions to Mars could arrive by 2030. At this stage, however, the fledgling colony is extremely vulnerable, and not just from the dangers of Mars. If at any point in this early phase Earth decides to cut off funding, the colony will have to be abandoned. In order to become self-sufficient, humans will have to figure out ways to make profit. This same process occurred hundreds of years ago when Europeans colonized the Americas. In order to stay afloat, colonists exported local goods back to their parent countries. And while there isn't any farmland on Mars, there are plenty of ways for companies to make money from the red planet. One thing you may have been asking yourself throughout this video is why should we do this in the first place? And yes, space exploration is dangerous and costly, but it also has many benefits outside of the scientific world. As mentioned earlier, space colonies could potentially be a gold mine for humanity. Precious metals, rocket fuel, and many other things could be hugely profitable, and would also allow us to stop hazardous mining operations on our home planet. The most valuable thing that we would gain from setting up colonies on Mars is security. There are dozens of different ways that humans could go extinct in the near future, and spreading out into space would help prevent that. And, as a bonus, the scientific discoveries we make along the way can help us protect the Earth. Setting up colonies on Mars will be a massive undertaking, but the almost infinite benefits far outweigh the cost. And with technology improving so quickly, who knows what the world of space exploration will look like in just a few decades.